Welcome. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, so today we're going to be doing some marketing strategies for nopCommerce, so I appreciate everyone joining here today. Just quickly, how many people are North American based or from North America and Europe and Asia, Africa? Okay, so we've got a good mix here. I think what you're going to see through the presentation here, a lot of it will apply regardless of where you are. And we're going to show a number of things here. It's going to be a little bit of a mix. We are going to go into some detail in regards to some of the screens and other things of the way we've been able to effectively use some of the marketing tools. But we're also going to be showing some kind of a little bit of the evolution of marketing a little bit there as well. So my name is Ed Arboleda. I'm the CIO for Focus Impressions. And we also have Charles Robinson here, who's our Chief Development Architect. We are a US-based company. We are a company that's based out of Boston. We are a nopCommerce Gold Solution partner, as well as an SAP partner as well. So we are Partner Edge program partner. Part of what we do is we're fully integrated not only on the marketing side with Nop Marketing, but we also have an ERP backend to SAP B1 and HANA. So it's an interesting product because it gives you an overall product in regards to everything from the marketing all the way to the back end, as well as the nopCommerce in the middle. So it's a nice comprehensive solution, as you'll see, for some of the things that we do for marketing today. Other partnerships that we have as well are with Illumedia. We have some representatives from Illumedia here as well, who's an SAP partner. We are also a Salesforce partner, as well as an Ariba partner as well. So we've got a number of partnerships that we've been able to leverage effectively to provide some of the marketing and ERP backend that we're kind of going to go through today. So it's kind of interesting, marketing evolution. So marketing, just taking a step back here for a quick second. So years ago, humans used whatever they had. In this case, it was walls. And that has evolved over time. Whatever you had is what you used. And that hasn't changed today. And we're going to see a little bit about that with innovation in nopCommerce. So over time, we've moved from cave walls to social media walls, right? So whatever communication mediums we've had, we've been able to leverage that. So these are some of the communication mediums that we use today that everybody's familiar with in regards to social walls, in regards to social media, in regards to all the different tools that are out there. One of the big things here that we're finding with marketing, especially, is the communication mediums. They're absolutely critical for growing your business, for expanding the business, partnerships, customers. Everything is really based around the marketing piece. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that actually affects all of your customers as you go forward with marketing. So marketing, the communication mediums specific to marketing really come out of growth, innovative growth. And that's really where it comes from. So as we talked about the cave walls, moving on to social media walls, that is because of innovation. And we're here today because of innovation. nopCommerce is an innovative platform that allows us to really expand a lot of the things that we're all doing. And we can use some of those communication mediums that are actually coming out of that to use for marketing and other things to grow our businesses, provide better services, things like that from a marketing standpoint. nopCommerce, as we're finding with a lot of folks here, whether you're a partner, whether you're a customer, integrator, nopCommerce is really the innovative tool that we're all using today. And part of that creation has been the communication mediums that have come out of that. So I think there's probably a good number of partners here, customers, everything mixed in here. But each of us are looking to take this great innovative platform and extend it for what we need for our customers. And those communication mediums that are coming out of innovation is really where marketing really comes into play. Marketing, when you really look at true marketing years ago, whether it was the printing press that was created in the early 15th century, they used that to technology today. It's really using those communication mediums to the extent that marketing can take full advantage of what's there. nopCommerce, I think Andre touched on this earlier today. As far as North America, it is an area that is primed for growth. And that's something that, at Focus Impressions, we really have tuned into. And it's something that we're really working now as a partner with nopCommerce and really moving forward because we see the same opportunity. One of the big drivers here, I think everyone here knows already, retail is contracting. A lot of things are moving online. E-commerce growth is exponential. We're seeing retail sales from Forrester. They're saying 2016, $373 billion in the US alone, $500 billion by 2020. The growth is just immense. It's extraordinary growth. On the flip side of that, we're seeing some of the retail industry start to shrink and contract. But for people who are groups or companies like us that are positioned well with an innovative product like nopCommerce, it's the perfect opportunity for this growth as it continues to escalate and accelerate. One of the most critical things about marketing is you have to have a comprehensive marketing strategy. So a comprehensive marketing strategy, I think everybody says, well, we have to do some marketing. We're going to use some email. We're going to send out mobile. Or we're not really sure what we're doing for marketing. So how do you grow your customers? How do you even know who your customers are? That's part of the comprehensive marketing strategy. And it's not one segment or one piece of marketing. It's using all those communication mediums we were talking about that are now available to us and using to the full extent to really get to your customers, to drive growth, to have the partnerships that you need. So the comprehensive marketing strategy, you have some challenges around that. So one of the challenges is human beings are adverse to change. So as a general rule, people do not like change. You're comfortable with the things you do. Any kind of change, there's always a little bit of resistance. It's kind of interesting because your life could depend on it, and you could have an organ transplant, and one of the first things your body does typically is it rejects the organ. So even though you need it to live, your body's rejecting it. It's a natural function of your body. And so doctors have to work to try to get it to accept the organ so you can live. And likewise, if you extrapolate that across just human behavior, and you really think about the fact that we just don't like change, it's a hard thing to do. So part of good marketing strategy is understanding that's one of the challenges that you have. Another major challenge that you have is attention span. So right now everybody seems to be focused over here, which is fantastic. So you've passed the average for a human attention span. It's actually right now, it's 8 seconds. So you have 8 seconds to get your message across in a marketing standpoint. So just a goldfish, what they've done in a recent study, is 9 seconds. So our attention span is actually less than a goldfish. So if we take those two human behaviors and we think about them, and we think about the fact that humans are adverse to change, and our attention span is really limited. So how do we effectively communicate to our customers and our clients in a way that they're going to be able to buy our products, use our services, things of that nature. And that goes all into understanding, really, human behavior and understanding things like analytics, which we're going to get into. So there's 4 tenets of marketing and things that you have to kind of understand before you have a full comprehensive marketing plan. For this session here, we're really going to focus on the execution of the marketing. We're going to spend a little bit of time understanding a couple of things here. We're going to move on to more of the execution of how you actually can do it effectively. But one of the things you want to do is, from a marketing standpoint, is what do you have? You have to be able to concisely say, this is what I have. I have a product that does this, and this is what I have. This is what I want to provide to my customers. The next thing is, what's your value proposition, which is really the why. So you have this great thing. Why does somebody who's adverse to change, who has a short attention span, is being bombarded by all these other marketing, sales pitches and everything else, why would they look at it? So that's where you have to have a value proposition that's extremely effective, concise, and really delivers what you need very quickly, knowing that folks only have an 8-second attention span. So the next thing is the who. So who are you marketing to? This is one of the key pieces that you have to understand for marketing if you really want to grow the business. Who are your customers? And the customers are really split up into 2 pieces. They're current customers or future customers. And you may have customers that you don't necessarily want because you're aiming for a different type of customer. And maybe you're a startup and any customer you get is great, but maybe you have a target that you're looking at to say, well, these are the customers that I want my business to grow into so that we have this demographic or this price point, whatever it is. So those are the things you have to think about from a who perspective as far as your customers. But today's session, we're really going to focus on the how. So this assumes now we've got a concise value proposition. We understand what we're selling, and we're understanding who we're selling to. So now we move into how do we actually do that? How do we actually take these pieces for a comprehensive marketing strategy and move forward with customers? Again, it's easy to say, hey, just send an email out. I bought an email list from so-and-so company, and I'll just send it out. Is that really an effective way of communicating with those folks? And what you often find, the answer is no. So you have to understand who those customers are that you want, who the customers are that realistically your product's going to really have the ability to resonate with. So it gets us to the key of your customers, which is analytics. Understanding who your customers are, understanding their behaviors, understanding why they're purchasing it, where they're purchasing it from, all of the information that's absolutely critical for your business. So we really start getting into segmented areas of your customers and really into demographics. So if you take a step back for your customers that you have today, can you effectively say, this is my core customer, age group, geographic region, income levels, education levels, whatever the information that's pertinent. I mean, if you really think about how many of us are able to give that information or know that information about our customers. That's why analytics is so critical. Because if you're sending out mass emails, or you're trying to reach out, phone calls, whatever it is, 99% of those they're not even going to look at it, because you're targeting it towards a customer that might not actually be a customer. They may not be looking for that type of product that you have. So the flip side to that is you might say, well, you know what? It's inexpensive to send emails out, and I'll just send out a blast of emails. And we all know what happens with that. There's spam, goes into spam, but more importantly from that, you can have a negative reaction to your brand or your product. If you get associated with spam and getting emails, communications that you don't want, humans are more apt to say, I don't know what this is, but I don't want it. I'm going to put it into the negative column. And that means not only have you not communicated your product, you've actually done the reverse. You've told the customer or set the expectation in your customer's head that you're a spammer or you're sending products. It's not a product they even want to look at. So you can't always just send out the emails or some mass communications without the analytics, without really understanding your customers, because you could have that effect as well. So two things that we find are very critical. One of the questions I asked at the beginning of the session is kind of where everybody's from. And some of the things here will resonate, interestingly, based on the region you're in. Things might resonate a little bit more than some of the other areas that you're here. And that goes for looking across the demographics here. Some things are going to be important to me. Other things may not be important to Lars or Craig from Focus Impressions or Charles. So those things, when we really take a step back and think about them, really are important for our products. And understanding that is the first key to successful marketing. Sometimes you make a sale or you're selling a product or service, and do you really know why you're making that? Why is the customer purchasing that? Why are they purchasing that service or product? Is it because you're the cheapest? Is it because you're the only one? Is it because somebody recommended you? Is it because they just happened to find something through marketing? Those questions are the kind of questions you want to understand why they're purchasing from you. Because first of all, you want to repeat that. But second of all, besides repeating it, you also want to understand, for that specific customer, is there additional services or products that you can provide that are going to help the customer? Are they going to be a repeat customer? If you have a retail store, or if you have a product that you're selling, they bought it once, do you have another product that you can offer? Can you upsell or cross-sell some of your other products? Are they a customer because they have to be? Are they good for a referral? Are they happy with what they have? These are all the questions that you have to think about And the analytics allows a lot of that to be answered for you so that you can extrapolate that information from the analytics and understand really what's effective from a marketing perspective. Again, it's easy to get an email list from somewhere. How do you gauge the success of that? Another big piece with market differentiators is functionality. So, there are niches where there's only one product available that does something specifically. That puts you in a different, maybe in a different segment from a marketing standpoint, but you still have to get that message across that you have that differentiator. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges a lot of companies have. You might have nuances between different products or services, but how do you communicate that yours is better than someone else's? That has similar, but maybe in that 8-second span, you not be able to communicate that properly so that they get it, that you are different from your competitor. So one of the effective tools that I think everyone knows about, and everybody here, a lot of folks are on their phones, using their phones here. One of the interesting stats that has come out that for the first time in 2016, StatCounter announced that the internet was accessed, used the web browsing was more through the actual mobile devices for the first time ever than from your desktop. Now that's an interesting stat because everybody knows your mobile devices are being used for pretty much everything nowadays. But to actually put it in terms that are tangible, to understand it's not just something you notice when you're in a conference and folks are using their phones. It's an actual fact now that society, in addition to having a lower attention span, has also shifted to mobile. And that shift is increasing. So any part of a comprehensive marketing plan must include mobile. It is the area of biggest change right now across all the marketing mediums. So one of the things, as technology changes, there's mobile apps, there's HTML5, there's responsiveness from nopCommerce in this particular case. There's different technologies that can be used in different ways to effectively communicate with your customers. Some of the things that we've used here, one of them is successfully is gamification and rewards. And it's not necessarily the end-all be-all. And it's really a niche for some areas. But it is part of a comprehensive marketing plan from a mobile perspective. So gamification, for those who don't know, is if you download an app and you get rewards, you can get trophies, you can get incentives for things that you do. So if you if you go to the gym and you have a certain amount of times that you're at the gym, you might win a virtual trophy or some kind of digital award or something that goes toward your health. And you can track it across different groups. You can see where you stand. There's different award levels. But it goes beyond even those things. As you apply it in the e-commerce space, you're really looking at things like promotions that you can then offer based on rewards. So if somebody's using, and I think we heard Andre talk about this today, specifically around rewards and how those levels are changing and how that's being inclusive. This goes a step beyond that from a mobile device on a gamification standpoint and does exactly what he's talking about, is taking that and put it into terms that customers understand and have tangible goals that they can see, and at the same time providing us with marketing tools in order to communicate effectively with them. So from a gamification standpoint, if I know that someone is on their phone using the mobile app and they're getting these rewards, I know instantly these are my top 10 users, these are my top 10 purchasers from a certain product or service. So from a marketing standpoint, I suddenly have great analytics. I have my top 10, top 100, whatever it is, that I can market effectively to them because I know they're using it. I know what their behaviors are. I know what their patterns are. If I have an online store, I can sell items, as an example, at promotional sales. I can provide incentives, additional rewards, referrals, things like that. So it really allows you to incorporate a lot of that really easily within the mobile device. And the gamification not only gives you that ability from a marketing standpoint, it also allows the customer to be able to track that and understand what the goals are and say, well, look, I reached a level 100 out of 500, and I've gotten this, and it's a digital, it's a digital thank you. But at 150, I get a 10% discount. Or at 20%, I get invited to a user conference or whatever it is. So the incentives are endless, and it's a good way. And humans have a competitive nature to them often, and that also allows them, sometimes they want to be the highest level, and it also brings that into play as well. So it's an effective tool, but it's one of a full portfolio of tools in the marketing space that you can leverage. So enhanced analytics is kind of what I touched on here. One of the things here, as we start talking about analytics, it's not just gamification. It's not just kind of the standard analytics. I'll talk a little bit about the geofencing here. For those who aren't familiar with geofencing, again, it's another effective tool and part of a portfolio. So geofencing, and in the future, they're going to have different technologies that are getting even more granular. But right now, geofencing means, for those who aren't aware, you shop at a retail store as an example. The mobile app knows you're in that store. So it tells you, welcome to XYZ store. We have promotions for you today. And P.S., behind the scenes, we're monitoring everything you do. So we have your location information. We have your purchasing information. We have your spending patterns, how long you're spending in the store, which stores you're going to, which geographic regions you've been to. All of that information, while you're using it, is getting captured. And that allows us as marketers to say, OK, so Charles has been at XYZ store 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and his purchase history shows over a $500 level. We have a new store that's opening, or we have additional incentives that I think might be effective for us to drive additional sales with them. And so one of the things, we then take that analytic information that's being collected through the geofencing, and it goes way beyond any incentives, is understanding his behavior down to the actual, you can bring it down to the product level to say these are the things that he purchased, if that's fully integrated in the background, to understand not only where he is, what he's doing, how much he's purchasing, how often, where. All this information we collect. And I think folks are aware of that information being collected. Everybody kind of knows already that some of those pieces are being collected. And sometimes that information is not for the benefit of customers. In our perspective, it absolutely is. From a marketing standpoint, we want to provide additional value to our customers from a marketing standpoint. We want to provide them the ability to enhance their business, their product set, have incentives, things that would make them happy in regards to how they purchase and their purchase history. So the geofencing, again, mobile app, geofencing, gamification, all effective and powerful tools, part of the mobile set that can be used. So we have various types of analytics. This is not marketing is our product that we have here. This is an example of some of the mobile analytics that we have today. So the mobile analytics, as you can see, has all this information collected. You can see a number of things here that we use and we leverage. But one of the things that I mentioned earlier is usage, right? So really easy. Do we have folks that are using the app? Are they using the mobile devices? How often are they using it? Why are they using it? Where are they using it? All this information comes into our analytics here, and it's tracked, and we understand everything about the customer now from a mobile standpoint. So now we can say, hey, we need to increase sale 10%, or we need to provide additional communications to customers. How do we do that? Who do we do that to? We pull up our analytics, and we look to see how they're coming in, what they're doing, and we use that for our campaigns from a marketing standpoint. So it makes it really easy. And the customers, when used for marketing, they're getting discounts, they're getting incentives, they're getting promotions. It works for them too. I'm happy every time I walk somewhere and somebody gives me a discount. I'm all for it. So it's a win-win from a customer standpoint and also from a marketing standpoint. One of the things we didn't talk about is downloads. So if you have software, for instance, that's being downloaded, you want to see usage, all those, that information also gets captured. One of the things that we didn't talk about was the geographic location specific to mobile. So how mobile is used is also used differently depending on the region that you're in. And it's also interesting because it ties back to demographics. So research has found, and analytic information has found, that depending on where you're located, your age group, different things, there's a more effective way to communicate from a marketing standpoint. You may have certain segments of our community that don't really use the cell phones, and you want to know, or the mobile devices, you want to make sure you're aware of who those are. You don't want to spend your time wasted on things that are not effective. Another effective method of communicating via marketing, I think everybody knows, is social media. So social media is really interesting. And again, I go back to the cave walls, which are probably the original social media, right? This is where they met. When it rained, bad weather, protection. They came in here and their message was across a cave wall. The messages now are coming all digitally, they're coming social media walls. But what's really critical about this, and really, really different and exciting about this, is for the first time, not only is it the people, the community driving a lot of the information, you have the opportunity that we've never truly had before to have viral marketing. So there's been limited types of viral marketing in the past, but now if you have a video or a product and it hits social media, it can spread like wildfire. And it's something very, very unique to social media that's really evolved over the last few years. So one of those things from a social media perspective is it's an extremely effective tool from a marketing standpoint. And it's something that, again, looking at the portfolio of marketing tools, something that has to be part of the core components, mobile and social media, part of the cornerstones of any marketing strategy. Consolidated social media. What I showed here on the earlier screen here is what we have from a marketing standpoint is we consolidate all of the marketing, all of the social media, blogs, mentions, everything that's out there, we bring it into the site. So if your company name or product, name of a person, employee, whatever it is, somebody mentions it on Twitter, somebody mentions it on Facebook, we pull it. And we present it here in a consolidated way so that you can see what's happening in the social media world. And this is effective for a few reasons. One is you want to know what's happening out there with your product or service. And if you're not aware of what's happening in social media, then right off the bat, you're losing half the battle there. Now, on the flip side, you may not want to display this. You may want to put filters in here to display certain pieces of it. But it's critical that you're aware of what's happening with your product or service. And this consolidates all of that so that you have all that information readily available. Also allows you for uniform messaging. If you've got a Twitter that's coming in, Facebook, something that's negative that's coming in allows you to respond effectively, proactively. Likewise, if you get some nice comments, you want to be able to retweet those. You want to be able to send that out there. So that's part of the uniform messaging that you do. And also allows you proactive reporting of what's coming through social media. All right, so now we start talking about, so now we know there are effective ways through mobile, social media. What about emails? So one of the things, the challenges with marketing and email is not only does it go out to pretty much anybody you have on a list, currently it's not configurable for the person or the customer. So how do you do that? So as you can see here, this is a digital flipbook. This allows us to actually take information from a CRM list, from a user list, a spreadsheet, whatever it is, and it actually takes it, pulls it in here, populates this, and then allows us to throw out an email campaign based on the analytics that it's providing. So not only is it customized for that customer, it's very specific with their information. You're not getting something that says, hey, are you interested in purchasing our product? Now it's saying, hey, Joe Smith, are you interested in purchasing this because we've noticed that you purchased a different product that you might like? And it gives you that ability to really get granular from that standpoint. So an email campaign, when it goes out, again, you don't want to blanket from just some list you downloaded. You want it to be very specific based on analytics. one of the features here that we've integrated as well is a scheduler. So a scheduler allows you to actually pull all the information and queue it up. So if you have something that's going to go out before the new year, you don't have to wait till New Year's Eve to actually send it out. What you can actually do is schedule it out. So it allows you to actually be able to not only set it up way ahead of time, schedule it out with alerting, so that it gives you the ability to see all of that, cancel it, change it, modify it, approve it, and then send it out. So one of the things here that we found very, very effective from a marketing standpoint, and this is a theme that you'll continue to see, is the ability to customize the marketing, whether it's through analytics, whether it's through understanding your customers. It's also feedback from your customers that help drive some of these marketing campaigns. In the case of email, what we've done, I'm going to show a few screens here from an eForm standpoint. The eForms allow you to dynamically build based on responses from your customer. So as an example, I'll use one example from an email campaign here. Somebody comes in and they're looking to purchase a cake. They can actually use these forms that are built in and actually build their cake online through these eForms in nopCommerce. So once you're able to build those and customize those, and let's say the person builds it, puts it in their shopping cart, and they decide they don't want it. One example, you could take this information that they've put in, provide incentives to them, send them a campaign and say, look, we noticed you left this in your shopping cart. This is what the cake looks like. These are the incentives we'll offer you, and these additional products, are you still interested in purchasing it? So it's very effective from a marketing standpoint to use some of these eForms. And we'll see here an example of a grid embedded in nopCommerce. You'll see some of the pieces here specific to some of the screens here that we have. So defining grid columns, you'll see, again, these are actual screenshots, because the eForms themselves, customizing that message is really effective for the customers. And so in this particular case, you can see, for those who are familiar, the grid columns. You support multi-select columns and grids tied to nopCommerce for entities such as products and customers. You'll see some of the pieces here from a grid perspective as well. What's really interesting is you can also create dependencies. So as an example, if somebody is filling out, as we saw the digital flipbook in the beginning, depending on your answers, it could drive different responses. It could drive different marketing tools. It really depends on those responses. It can be reactive and it can be dependent. So if you type in, as an example, information, you'll see here, do you like e-commerce websites? Yes. Okay, they like e-commerce websites. Based on that information or that question or the input that we got from the customer, we're able to then drive specific marketing for that customer. So when we talk about some of the controls here within nopCommerce, you'll see here that we leverage all of those controls offered by nopCommerce. And we've actually, if you see here, we've actually added a few extra ones. As you can see, experience lookup tables, grids, multi-selects, a number of things here that you can actually do within nopCommerce. It really extends the power of nopCommerce from that perspective. So when we, again, look at the overall portfolio of marketing, and you think of mobile, you think of analytics, you think of things like eForms, customized campaigns, all of the pieces put together allows you to, that comprehensive marketing strategy that allows you to really reach the customer. So here's an interesting chart here. When you send out an email, is it effective? Did the person open the email? Did they read it? Did they click through it? What did they do with the email? A lot of times the answer is we don't know. But the analytics you have here, as an example, allows you to send out the emails that are now targeted based on analytics, based on information you received on the customer, and then tells you who opened the emails, who read it, who clicked through it, who's doing what based on the campaign, and that's all tracked. So when you send something out, it's no longer blind. It's giving you all that feedback and information. If they make purchases, if they're hitting your site, if they've opened that email, you now know who's actually doing what. So it gives you that full ability to go back and forth with your customers and grab that analytic information. Now, all of a sudden, I've sent out 100 targeted emails, 50 of them opened them, 20 of them ended up purchasing additional products. All that information is captured here through the email campaigns. Now I know for the next round, 50 people opened them. Those are the 50 that I'm actually targeting. 20 of them came back, and it's the wrong email. So obviously, I'm not going to include that as part of that. But it gives you the ability from an email perspective to take those campaigns now that you do send out and pull it in. So it goes back to that theme around analytics and understanding who your customer is. So data tracking, customer behavior, emails open, bounce backs, spam reports, everything you could hope for. And one of the beauties of emails is, as everyone knows, it's an inexpensive way to communicate with your customers. It's an effective and inexpensive way. Now, a full comprehensive marketing strategy has to also include traditional means such as mail and print. Only, however, if your analytics dictate it. If your customers are not opening the mail, if your customers don't do anything on print, there's no reason to actually use any of these. But it is part of a traditional marketing campaign, and it is part of a comprehensive marketing campaign. So I did want to point out the challenges with this, though, as everybody knows. How do you get any analytics on it? You can't. If you send somebody a mailing that says, hey, I've got this great product, it's great. Did they open it? Are they doing anything with it? How do you tie that back from an analytics standpoint? It's very, very difficult. So this is, again, a very big change of how we do things today, but it is part of a comprehensive plan. So if it is something your analytics come back and say you should utilize, then you should definitely look at this. But again, only if your analytics dictate that it's something that's needed for that. But it is part of that overall comprehensive execution of that marketing strategy. All right, so I think we got about 5 minutes left here. So just to kind of sum up here, you do need a fully consolidated marketing execution plan. It can't be piecemeal. And it can't be a blanket, because quite honestly, you're wasting your time and your money. Effectively target your customers, both from an existing standpoint, who your target customers are in the future, grab the analytics, use that analytics to then send out the marketing execution plan that you have. As long as you have the other 3 pillars, which is understanding what you have, communicating that effectively, and so forth, you're able to then execute this by using that comprehensive plan based on your analytics. nopCommerce, as we all know, part of the reason we're here is because it is innovative. As I mentioned earlier, we've got the ability with nopCommerce, which is very unusual. You've got a blank slate here that has a lot of functionality that we can all build on. And it gives you that platform to do a lot of unique things, such as what we're doing here, to really reach out to your customers, really drive sales, customer satisfaction, things that are needed to really help drive your customers' businesses, sales for yourself, things of that nature. Okay, so that's pretty much what I had for today. I think we got about 5 minutes, so I just want to open up for any questions they have for myself or Charles, but I definitely do appreciate everyone joining today. This is my email if anybody needs to reach out to me or has any questions. You can certainly bring them up here, or you can ask me or email me, but hopefully this helps with an effective marketing comprehensive plan and the different segments and components that's needed to really effectively reach out to your customers.